Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praise and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashim Shine, Bashim Rakak, Wadash, and double honor to the apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh Bashim Shai Brakatham, to the elect, whom this gospel is for, and it's your brother Laban. And I have to speak on the death of D'Angelo, just real quick anyway, among many things that I want to speak on as well in regards to the topic of music. But anyway, first and foremost, I want to say, man, this was definitely one of my favorite artists of all time. Like, this dude could have very well been equivalent to that of a Prince, between the 90s and the 2000s. I would say the early 2000s, but his career was cut short commercially because he didn't want to compromise on what he loved to do the best, which was his music, and just to plainly put it, he didn't sell out. And that's why he did that one song called The Devil's Pie on the Voodoo album that he did. And how talented this man was. He was able to literally do various genres of music on one album. I mean, especially the Brown Sugar album that he did. He showed you that. He gave you like a church joint. He gave you, a jazz joint. He gave you funk. Just on the first album that he did. And then Voodoo showed that he was good at funk too. All right, even that Latin, that he was good with the Latin sound too. This guy was nothing to play with when it came to music. I mean, this dude, I want to say it again, man, so I can say it correctly. Listen, if you wanted a gospel album, he could have gave you that. If you wanted the jazz album, he could have gave you that. If you wanted the progressive funk, neo soul, Latin, he could have touched on all of these different genres of sounds. So this guy was like a Prince in his time. He was the epitome of music in his time, but back then it didn't really push him like that because, again, music was going in a different way, and it was more towards pop. It was more towards hip hop music, but people like him just wasn't really getting that shine like they did before, like they did back in the 1980s and the 70s and stuff like that. Because again, Michael Jackson, they really pushed him hard because of his talent, and even Prince too. But this guy didn't really take it there. But I think it was really to do with him per se, because I remember watching the interview and he was speaking about how he didn't like how the music business was treating him with his music, because his music was like his baby that he cherished so much. So he didn't like the fact that the music business was just more about business rather than the love of music. But again, as I'm going to plainly put it, I believe the reason why he only did 2 albums commercially, because he didn't want to sell out. And that's what they try to do to these artists is when they make the first album, they're themselves, but then all of a sudden when you check the second album out, it's a totally different kind of imagery that they have to portray, and also a different sound, more towards the dark side. And that's what the Voodoo album was about. Case in point, there it is, Voodoo. His second album was called Voodoo. Okay. So he already knew where it was going, and that's why he did the song on that album called The Devil's Pie, which elaborated on him selling out, or just the idea of selling out, Salakia. So yeah, man, once again, I have to say, this was definitely one of my favorite artists of all time. And they have him as an R&B singer, but like I said, I wouldn't just call him an R&B singer. This guy was music in his time period. And if I didn't mention rock, if you wanted a Jimi Hendrix sound, he could have gave you that too. Last but not even least. So when this was sent to me by a brother, man, this kind of hurt me just a little, because this was my guy for real, musically. But then I begin to think, man, which really a thought just came in my mind, and the thought was, is we're transitioning anyway. All of these Jakes that have passed away, they're going to come back in the kingdom. And guess what? They're going to sing to their fullest potential, because the Lord is going to have it so that everyone's going to be had in their full glory in Israel. So if you thought that these singers were talented, you ain't seen nothing yet in the kingdom, because they're going to be singing their ass off properly. All right. And speaking of singing, I think this dude here, because back in the ancient world, the singers, which was at the time, would be your Levites, which I remember a while back ago, Apostle Hall was touching on this. And it's true, because when you read the book of First Chronicles 15, David appointed singers because the Ark of the Covenant was about to be presented. So you had these singers, which were of the tribe of Levi, which were the priests. They were set up to sing. And by the way, I believe personally, I think this guy was a Levite. Again, he could have gave you a church joint and he could have sung the high notes. So yeah, man, I want to jump right into reading verse 14. So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of the Lord, power of Israel. And the children of the Levites bear the ark of the Most High upon their shoulders with staves thereon, as Moses commanded, according to the word of the Lord. And David spake to the chief of the Levites to appoint their brethren to be the singers, with instruments of music, psaltery and harps, and cymbals sounding by lifting up the voice of joy. So the Levites appointed Heman the son of Joel, and of his brethren Asaph the son of Barakai, of the sons of Merari, their brethren, Athan the son of Cushiah, and with them their brethren of the second degree, Zacharias ben Jeziel, Shemer Ramoth, Jehiel, Unai, Eliab, and Benaiah, and Messiah, and Matthiah, and Lepela. This is the Old Testament for you, man, these Hebrew names. And Nickniah, and Obed-Dedom, and Jeel, the porters. So the singers and Heman, Asaph, and Athan were appointed to sound of the cymbals of brass. So it lists all of the singers and the musicians all together that were appointed to sing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of these guys here. Because these dudes, these individuals here that were appointed to be the singers, these were no fly-by-nighters. These were no regular average singers. These were top qualified singers, had to been. Okay, so in the kingdom of heaven, man, guess what? As it is written, that the Lord is going to create in his people a rejoicing people, right? So when Jake rejoices, what do you think comes with Jake rejoicing? Music. All right. If Jake is having a wonderful time in a park or whatever setting he's in his own house, you best believe music is playing all right. Okay, so how much music is going to be playing when we're in the kingdom? How much are we going to party? Even right now in hell, Jake is celebrating, man. Jake is always in that celebratory spirit. So again, just imagine when Jake is in the kingdom. Come on, man. So anyway, I want to read Matthew 9 here. I want to read this to convey a point. Yeah, so this is Matthew 9 and verse 14. Then came to him the disciples of John, saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but thy disciples fast not? And Yahushua said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn, as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast, right? Because what he was basically saying is that the elect, which were of the 12, of course, were the children of the bride chamber, which he was the bridegroom, Yahushua in this case. So if he's gone, guess what? We're going to be appointed to fast, meaning we're going to be in a place of mourning. And ever since that's been the case until now, we've been fasting. And when you fast, that's basically a sign of sorrow. Just like when you read the book of Nehemiah, the 9th chapter, as this reads here, now on the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloths and earth upon them, meaning the dust upon them. And that was a custom, again, to show that you were in a state of mourning if your loved one passed away or whatever. So they were in this state confessing their sins. As this reads, and else as it reads, and the seed of Israel separated themselves from all strangers and stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers. And they stood up in their place and read in the book of the law their power 1/4 part of the day, and another 4th part they confessed and worshiped the Lord their power. Right, so that's all I'm going to read. So right now, Yahushua isn't here. So what are we in? We're in a house of mourning. We're confessing our sins to our power. This is the state of affairs that we're in right now. But when Yahushua comes back and delivers us, guess what? We're going to be praising his holy name, and we're going to be in the spirit of rejoicing. Just as well as back then when the Ark of the Covenant was being presented and they were all singing. So you think when they were singing, they were mourning? No, they were in the joyful spirit. As this reads, sounding by lifting up the voice with joy, right? So as Yahushua is, he's equivalent to that of the Ark of the Covenant, which his burial was that. When he comes back, it's going to be the same. We're going to be in a state of rejoicing. We're going to be singing, and even untowards in the kingdom, we're going to be singing. As I just quoted the precept in Isaiah 65, how the Lord is going to make Jerusalem a rejoiceful city. Because Yahushua would have already dead all of the curses which came upon us. By then, of course. All right. So I want to read this as well. This is Isaiah 25 and verse 8. And he will swallow up death in victory, which is sin. And the Lord power will wipe away tears from off all faces. And the all faces, of course, is referring to the Lord's people, the Israelites. And the rebuke of his people, see, shall he take away from off all of the earth, for the Lord hath spoken it. Yahweh hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, lo, this is our power. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is the Lord Yahweh. We have waited for him, and we will be glad and rejoice in his salvation, which Yahushua is going to be presented to deliver us, which is going to be the power of the Father Yahweh. All right. So after that's all said and done, and we're in the right place, the place of salvation, what do you think we're going to be doing? We're going to be singing. And when we're on that ship, however the Lord is going to have it so, however we're going to be the living, when we're together, we're going to sing the song of Moses, which is Deuteronomy 32. As this reads, they sing, this is Revelation 15 and verse 3, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the songs of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works. Lord, power almighty, just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, and for thy judgments are made manifest. Right. So that's the point. So when we're on that ship, we're going to be singing, because we would have already had gotten the victory over the beast. What is the beast? The beast is referring to this revival version of Rome, which is this system that we're currently in right now. So this is bound to happen in the future. Let's get Psalms 89 and verse 16. In thy name shall they rejoice all the day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in the favor our horn shall be exalted. For the Lord Yahweh is our defense, and the Holy One of Israel our King. So the elect is going to rejoice. And the Lord is going to what? Make sure that we're in his glory. And by his strength, we will be exalted. And then thou spakest in a vision in thy Holy One, and saidest, I have laid help upon one that is mighty. I have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David my servant. With my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established. Mine arm also shall strengthen him. Which ties into what was written in the book of, Genesis 29 about Judah. Okay. And what I'll do is matter of fact, let me go and get that right now. As this is written, the hand of Judah, right? How does it go, man? Matter of fact, let me just go and read it. Genesis 49. Let me see if I can just type this in, and Lord willing, it should take me there. Yeah, so now let's go and read verse. It should be here. And if not, it's probably somewhere else. Yeah, this is it right here. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 7. I ain't read this in a while. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, hear, Lord Yahweh, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. And let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies. So there it is. Which is in connection with what I was reading before in the book of Psalms 89 and verse 21. With whom my hand shall be established, mine arm also shall strengthen him. So that's basically David in this case. Which this is the Psalm. Yeah, this is David, the Lord's covenant with David in Israel's affliction. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure I was right. Yeah, so this is David, basically. David represents the leadership of Israel, which he's of the tribe of Judah. And so there you have it. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn shall be exalted. Right, because David is going to represent the power of Israel, as well as he did during the time of his tenure. All right, he definitely demonstrated that in his time. From all of them nations that he came up against, and all of those men that were skilled at war, he showed that he was the power of Israel, so much so that by the time Solomon came on the scene, they feared Israel. Okay, and that spirit of fearing the Lord among these nations are going to come back. That spirit is coming back in a big way. But this time, Yahweh Shah is going to put the fear in the Lord in everybody. And so shall all of these other nations fear. And so shall all of these other nations currently right about now, which have been back then, of course, will fear the Lord once again. All right, so there you go. So again, when we're in our time of rejoicing, again, all of these people that have passed on, they're going to come back in their lot, and they're going to be the musicians that they're going to be. And they're going to be singing that raw music. And they're going to be singing for the Most High, man, in their glory. All right. They don't have to worry about being compromised and selling their soul and making their music this way and that way. Nah, they're going to be truly, genuinely getting into it. You know, because Jake is of the right hand side, man. But a lot of our people have went to the dark side, and that's going to pay as a consequence. You know, Jake is for the right hand side, but a lot of our people, we went to the other side instead. The majority of our people. And so that's going to be had as a consequence real soon, you know. But yeah, man, that's all I got to say with this right here. He's at peace. And he'll be back, man. And when he's back, he'll be right in his right state of mind. He will know the Lord, which he already knows the Lord now. But what I'm saying is he's going to be knowing the Lord when he comes back. And Israel is gonna dwell peacefully in righteousness. So that's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Basham Shai Basham Rakak Wadash. And double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone and the elder bishops 2, and Yahweh Bashim Al Shai Barakatham to all of you brothers out there. And with that, I'm closing. Shalom.